What do you do when you're the most hated man in Duxbury, New Hampshire? Do you take the next bus out of town or do you hope for a holiday miracle? Find out in this week's episode of B-Movie Sunday. Hello everyone, my name is River and I'm the host of B-Movie Sunday. This week I watched 8 Crazy Nights, a film produced, written, and starring Adam Sandler. This is his first animated film and the first time he ever voice acted, which I thought was actually pretty interesting. The character does look like Adam Sandler, sound like Adam Sandler. I can see why he chose to animate himself, though, because in this film, his character is a prestigious basketball player. At least he was when he was in school. But then some unfortunate circumstances ended up changing the type of person he was. But I'll get more into the plot in a minute. This film came out in 2002. It is an animated film done in the same style as most Christmas movies, whether they be secular or religious. But this one revolves around Hanukkah. I myself am not Jewish. I've never celebrated Hanukkah, so I'm sure there are inside jokes within this film that, just totally went over my head. But that being said, there's still a lot in there for people who have never celebrated it. It was written by and produced by Adam Sandler, also starred him. He plays the main character, Davy Stone. He plays the Yoda-like characters, what I'm going to call them, and you'll see why in a minute, Whitey Duvall and his sister, Eleanor Duvall. And he also plays the deer. Now, there are a few other actors in here, such as Rob Schneider, Norm Crosby, John Lovitz, other people that you'll be familiar with if you're familiar with Adam Sandler's work. He tends to hire his friends. I don't blame him on that. I've seen a lot of people do that because some of his films aren't quite to the caliber they once were, thinking of things like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, things like that. And this one, don't get me wrong, is nowhere near as funny as those films, but it's not as bad as some of his later stuff either. But he does get accused of using these same people over and over again and making bad films. But hey, if you're the one in charge and it's your friends, why not? And nobody did a horrible job in this movie. It was obvious that Adam Sandler was playing multiple characters, and at times he was literally talking to himself. Just because if you've seen other stuff with him in it, or if you've seen his old SNL stuff, you've heard his voice that he uses for Whitey. It is just this very old man type voice. I'm not even going to try to impersonate it because I tried to while watching this, and I did a horrible job. But let me get to the plot of the movie. So, as I said in the intro, it takes place in Duxbury, New Hampshire. Davy Stone is a 33-year-old alcoholic troublemaker, and at first you just think he's a jerk. He has no reason to be like this. He just hates everybody. In fact, in one of the opening songs, he says, "I hate you, I hate me, I hate Christmas, Hanukkah, everything, about everything." So from the get-go, you already do not like him as a character, and this will stay for literally 50 minutes of the 76-minute movie. His redemption spot, I paused it just to check, is at 50.00 in the version that I watched. So you do have to sit through quite a bit of obnoxiousness, of crudeness. This is, like I mentioned in the last episode, this is an adult cartoon. Not to say that there's anything too graphic about it, but there is topics about alcoholism, bereavement, depression. These are things that most children will not understand. Hopefully, will not understand. And there is language in it. There's foul language, and there is what's I've seen termed as scatological humor. I think the scientific term for that is poop jokes. That is something that I am not for. It's something that does turn my stomach when I watch, and there are a couple of times in this film where they use it. Fast forward past it. That's all I can say because it's not a bad film. It's not a great film, but it's not a bad film at all. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, at least because this was a nominee for a Razzie Award. If you're familiar with that, that's the awards they have for horrible movies. It did not win though. It was just nominated. But so we have Davy Stone, who is a troublemaker. He is an alcoholic, but you find out all of this is because his parents passed away when he was younger, around Hanukkah, and it's just made him into a bitter, bitter person. So he's gotten in trouble multiple times, and the movie opens up where we see him in court again for, in this case, it was attempted drunk driving and then resisting arrest when he was doing some things around cops that he shouldn't have been doing. So the judge tells him that, he's done with him, he's going to send him to jail. But then Whitey steps up for him and he says, he will take him under his wing and he will have him be the assistant basketball coach with him. And if that doesn't work, then sure, throw him in prison. And the judge says that's fine, but if this doesn't work, 10 years in prison, no, do not pass go, do not collect $200, the routine. So Whitey takes him under his wing, and it does not work at first. Davey is just belligerent. He doesn't want to help out at all. He drinks during the basketball games where kids are playing. Whitey, who occasionally goes into seizures, Davey just makes light of it, makes jokes about it, and cancels games and tries to make people cry, and just does, like I said, he's a very horrible person. And in fact, while I was watching this, I kept wanting to stop it because I thought there's no redeemable qualities about this guy. There's nothing that's going to make him into a better person unless there's like some Christmas Carol sort of thing where he's visited by three spirits. And there kind of is. And this is a part I think that they could have left out of the film. So one place that what the character Whitey goes in order to calm down and collect his thoughts is the mall. So when Davey's acting up, he brings Davey there to try to get him to do the same thing. Of course, they run into an old flame of Davies, which I'm going to go ahead and spoil this for you. He ends up with at the end. It's very obvious. This movie is full of holiday and film tropes. So it's very predictable. That doesn't make it less enjoyable, though. But one of the times when Davey is really at his lowest, at about the 50-minute mark, he breaks into the mall by himself, and he is visited by spirits, but not the spirits of Hanukkah past, present, and future. He's visited by the spirits of KB Toys, Victoria's Secret, Radio Shack, Foot Locker, See's Candies, Panda Express, The Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, Sharper Image, and GNC. We definitely know who paid for this movie. There is product placement all throughout it, and at first I didn't think anything about it until this scene where they actually start talking to him and giving him advice. So the $34 million budget that Adam Sandler got for this, it was paid for. You can definitely see that. So, of course, in his big redemption, the little light bulb clicks, and he says, okay, I've got to make up for what I've done with Whitey. So at first, he plays with this in his head. He goes, do I go apologize to Whitey, or do I just head out of town? So he goes to a bus. It's heading for New York, and he's thinking, okay, just going to get out of here. If I'm gone, to where nobody knows who I am, where I am, it'll be fine. Everybody can get on with their lives. He realizes how horrible of a person he has been, and that his parents would not have been proud of the man that he's become. So when he's on the bus, though, the bus has a small accident. He's the only one on it, of course. And it ends up that it's right in front of the community center where the bus breaks down. Now, on that particular night in the community center, they're handing out achievement awards, mostly for the basketball team. So you have a bunch of kids receiving awards, and they also have one special award called the Patch that gets voted on, and it is for the person who has put the most effort into the community, into the team, into everything that they can do. Now, this is the 32nd annual one, or 33rd annual one, and Whitey wants to win it. Whitey deserves it. He's been working with these basketball teams forever, though nobody seems to notice that he's there. There's a quote that I love. It's not from the movie, but it says, if you do something right, nobody will notice you did it. And Whitey is really the epitome of that quote because he doesn't win the award. The person who wins the award is someone who gives money to the society, to the community, and to the basketball teams. He's played by John Lovitz. His name is Tom Baltazar. And, he shows what most people think of when they think of these awards. The person who spends the most money is the person who helped the most. But of course that wasn't true because everybody in this community has been affected by Whitey. So with the bus broke down outside, Adam Sandler's character Davey, he tells the bus driver, I'll be right back, I have to take care of something. And he runs to the community center, and the deer, who have been giving Davey a hard time throughout this, because they know, animals know when a person is bad, and these deer definitely know that Davy is bad. So they've been giving him a hard time this whole time, but he tells them he is there to help Whitey. He is there to redeem himself. He even gives himself a wedgie to prove how loyal he is. I'm not sure how that proves to deer your loyalty, but it works in this case. And so they help hide him from the cops that are looking for him for breaking into the mall. And he ends up getting into the community center. And this is after Whitey had left from not receiving the award. And he mentions to everybody through song. This is a musical, kind of. This is a movie full of songs. Let's put it that way. There's even a soundtrack for it if you hate your earbuds. So it's not that bad, but I definitely wouldn't buy the soundtrack. So he tells people, hey, Whitey has helped you. He has helped you. He has helped you. So they all go out to search for Whitey. And where's Whitey? He's at the mall. So him and his sister have gone to the mall to say their final goodbyes because they are going to leave town. They said, if nobody notices us, nobody cares about us, we're out of here. Nobody's going to notice we're gone. And all 32 of the previous recipients, plus John Lovett's character, give him their patches because they realize how much they have been touched as a community by this one guy. And of course, Adam Sandler ends up with his girl because Adam Sandler wrote the movie, so of course his character is going to end up with the girl at the end. I know this is one of my shorter reviews, and that's because it's a shorter movie. It's 76 minutes. There's really not much as far as plot. It's full of tropes. You know that there's going to be a happy ending. You know that he's going to get the girl, and that Whitey is going to feel better, and everybody's going to have a nice happy day. But it was one that was recommended to me, and it goes with the holiday season. I wanted to find one for each holiday that I could, and this one definitely covers Hanukkah. You're not going to find many movies out there that do that, and so I recommend it. I watched it on Amazon Prime. It's free on there, and I would recommend it on there. It's not for kids at all. I wouldn't even say it's for teenagers. It does have crude humor. It does have language, like I said. It does deal a lot with drinking and stuff like that. So if these are things you're sensitive to, then don't watch it. You're not missing a ton of things. If you're not into what's the word I used earlier, scatological humor, then fast forward past those parts because they're small parts. But if you're like me and really dislike crude for crude's sake, then you're gonna want to get past those as quickly as possible. I'd give this movie 2.5 stars. I mean, why not? It's very well animated. It really is. The script isn't horrible. If you get past the tropes, it's a very touching movie. You do see, that these people actually do care for Whitey when it comes down to it, and you see that all that Davy wants is for somebody to care for him like his parents cared for him. That's something that he never got after they passed away. He ended up going to foster homes, and this can make you into a bitter person. And you see him redeemed. You see the whole town redeemed, basically. I hope that Adam Sandler and these guys never do another animated movie because with the crudeness and poop jokes and stuff like that, I think they would keep going with that because they do seem to be the type of crew that likes that type of humor. So they can not do this again if they want. But go see if you know somebody who owns a copy of it. Borrow their copy. I wouldn't recommend buying it. I wouldn't even recommend renting it, though. I think, as most of these movies, Amazon has it for $2.99 or $3.99, depending on what quality you watch it in. Making it HD is not going to change the quality of the humor, though. So, like I said, 2.5 stars. Go and watch it if you want. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. If you watch it and don't like it, don't blame me though. I have warned you. But if you watch it and like it, please let me know. You can reach me at bmoviesundaypodcast at gmail.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/bmoviesunday. Next week, I'm going to be doing a Christmas horror movie because every good B movie has a holiday horror movie to it. I did Thanksgiving last season, last month. Let's try that again. I did Thanksgiving last month, and I'm going to do a nice one this month. I believe it's called Silent Night, Deadly Night. If you want to go ahead and watch it and then listen to my review. That's great. If you want to do it the opposite, that's fine too. And then I'm also trying to get another Christmas one before the end of this month called Muscle Santa. I've not been able to find it yet, but it's one starring Hulk Hogan, and I was sold right when I was told about that. So if anybody out there knows where I can access this movie, please let me know. Leave it in a comment on YouTube here, on the Facebook account. Email me, send up a smoke flare. I really want to get my hands on this movie because I think it's going to be an excellent one to review. I think it's going to be right up my alley. So thank you for watching. If you want to see any more awesome podcasts, you can go to atomicrocketstudios.com/shows. They have some great ones on there, including the newest one, Marvel Netflix Mashup, where they are reviewing each episode of Jessica Jones on Netflix. I've just started watching that myself. It is excellent, so you know you'll never see it on my show here. I think it's better than Daredevil, but I'm not going to go too much into that. I've only seen one episode of Jessica Jones so far. But go listen to them. If you're into other Marvel things, they also have one called Automat, which is an Agent Carter podcast where they've reviewed all 8 episodes of season 1, and of course are preparing us for season 2 of that show. But you can check them out there. You can reach them at atomicrocketstudios@gmail.com or facebook.com/atomicrocketstudios. Give them a like, give me a like, and I will see you next week. Enjoy the movies.